Hey y'all, welcome back to the party. It is me, your girl, BrittReacts, and today we are reacting to more Theo Von. This is Theo Von's We Had This Guy stories. Let's see what he has to say.
This dude, my buddy, Billy Conforto, rest in peace, bro. He died. He drove into an embankment. Oh, yeah, man. My buddy used to be gay. He was kind of a homoerotic kind of guy, and he was about 44. He died, actually.
Already.
Billy Conforto, R.I.P., actually. And
He was like a prize fighter. He was like a homosexual prize fighter.
he looked like Don Flamenco. You know who that is?
I mean, he's consistent. At least he's consistent. He's consistent. The name checks out. The story checks out. Like, I love this compilation already. We had this guy. Like, it's like he always has some guy in his stories. He can always, like, tell us a story of some guy. I'm already cracking up. Where is my concealer catcher? All right. We have it. We're ready.
From Mike Tyson's Punch-Out.
Oh, yeah, with that.
Yeah. The little Italian guy, and he's like...
No.
He looked like that guy. My buddy looked just like him, exactly like him. My buddy was a boxer.
Dick.
My buddy he preferred cock, but he was
wrong
also
with
a
that.
boxer.
Why
But he
do
was
we
like the
have to
first
know
gay
about
guy I
his
ever
sexual
met,
orientation?
You know? And he was a boxer too, and he was Italian, and he yeah, and dude, he was like the toughest guy I ever knew. Bro, he would fight you and then fuck you after if you wanted to. It was up to you guys.
Yeah.
But he was the toughest dude I knew, and he was a busboy. He used to do.
This man is always dead serious when he tells these stories, which is why it's so funny, because the stories are so outlandish. They're so bizarre. It's like, how bizarre. And he delivers them with the straightest face. It's the best part of the whole thing. That and the mullet. It's my favorite part of the whole thing is like, you know these stories are true. I don't think for a moment there's any embellishment happening here. I think his stories and his life is so true. And like, next to the machine from Burr, we need a movie. We need a Theo Von movie. Maybe maybe the Taxi Experience. Can we make that into a movie? I cannot.
Pills and everything, and we were bus boys together. We were co-bus boys. He gave me some pills, gave me some somas one night or something. I think try to maybe take advantage of me. I don't remember. That's a good thing about pills is if you did get molested, you don't really have to remember it. Daddy'd be like, fuck, give me back my little bag of Coke, bro. I ain't trying to fucking hear about.
I do not condone that message. I've never heard anyone refer to themselves as a co-bus boy, like a co-worker, a co-bus boy. He's also really good at like coming up with these like just ridiculous titles, unnecessary titles that we don't need. A co-bus boy, like he was your co-worker. Also, I love that this story keeps expanding. We keep getting more and more information about this man as as there's more clips from interviews of him telling the same story. Theo Von, you are a unicorn, sir, and this planet needs you. We need you here. So stop doing all of these extracurricular activities that you're doing.
Like, fuck, give me back my little bag of Coke, bro.
Extracurricular activities.
This, I'm trying to meet a nice guy tonight.
Man.
You fucking...
Hold on, but keep telling the story. So you and your boy would
Keep
just
telling the story.
inject each other and then be like,
Dude, you look
that
like
was
somebody
fun.
like everybody else is like, I'm getting a sex change. You're like, nah, I'm just gonna fucking power. I'm gonna earn it. You know what I'm saying? Dude?
I'm going to force it.
Yeah, I'm gonna get it medically done, bro.
I'm going to.
So we'd pull off and we'd spend time like that. We would do we would do uppers,
You
Yeah,
gotta work
and-
out, right? Like you can't.
Yeah,
just
like
do
you guys were
steroids
working out and
like,
doing them?
lay around. You got to work out as well.
Dude, we were never laying around. I didn't know him like that. We were just friends. And
No, I'm not saying
didn't
you
know
slept
him
with
like
guy.
that.
I'm saying that, you got.
and I just talked about this week on the podcast. He died. He drove into an embankment on pills one time. But
Was that on purpose or he's like trying to party?
I don't know. But I will say this, man. Whenever we were kids,
Was it on purpose or was he trying to party? Those both sound like they were purposeful. This is too much. He has been on every podcast known to man. May I also note, he has been on every single podcast possible.
Was that on purpose or he's like trying to party?
I don't know. But I will say this, man. Whenever we were kids, we pull off the side of the interstate and just shoot each other
Good
up.
place to do it because there's nowhere else in the world to do it.
And we, he used to buy weed, and he also sold weed. So I used to drive him across to New Orleans and drive him around when I was young because he was older and had weed. And then you pick up like 8 pounds of weed, dude. So we're out there slinging butters and fucking huffing whipped cream in the freezer.
Damn, getting loose.
Getting loose? What do you mean working hard, bro? You ever been a busboy? That's what you fucking
I was
do,
a janitor,
dude.
bro.
Really?
My
At a
first
Hot
job.
Topic?
No, I was at a grocery store as a janitor.
Dude, you seem like the toughest bitch at a Claire's boutique, dude. Have you fucking seen this guy? Damn. Wow, bro.
Oh my. This is happening. This is legitimately happening. All right, let me buckle up. I have a smoothie and water today, you guys, because I need energy to deal with Theo Von. And I just... Also, shout out to Hot Topic. I used to love that. Hot Topic, and what was the other one? Spencer's. Are they still around? I don't frequent malls, but when I do, I don't feel like I've seen either store. I'm trying to think the last time I feel like I've been in a Hot Topic. Okay, wait, maybe like the last time I was in Long Island, or the time before that I went to a mall, and I do feel like we went into a Hot Topic. Are they still around? There was like a circuit that you did as a millennial when you went to the mall as a teenager, because that was like all we ever did. There was like a circuit, right? You went into certain stores. It was the Charlotte Russe. It was the 579. Shout out to the 579 girls. It was the Hot Topic and the Spencer's. We didn't really have Forever 21 until like college. But listen, there was like, there was a certain, you stopped in these stores. Hot Topic always had like bomb t-shirts, like, and all the other crazy things. Shout out to that, because he did mention Hot Topic.
Well, most of my audience knows I used to bury a guy's shit in my neighborhood for free. This boy, Mario Ruffino.
Mario Ruffino? Shout out to Mario Ruffino.
Dude, when I was young, they had this kid in our town named Mario.
He had a brother named Luigi?
No, he didn't, dude.
No?
And
Wasn't a plumber?
We're going to leave that joke in. But
You'd shit on the yard and be like, yo, Theo, come bury
in
this.
his yard, make me hide it. And I
Why would you
What?
bury another man's poop if he asked you to do it?
Why?
What was the benefit?
Why was he
He would
pooping
defecate in his yard, and I was younger than him. And for us to be friends, he'd make me bury the poop
For
to me.
us.
He was
to
not
be
able to
friends.
communicate well about his thoughts or feelings, and so I just remember he'd shit, I'd bury it. And that was a lot of our...
That sounds about right. Someone who's pooping in their front yard might have some communication barriers. What do you mean for us to be friends? What does that mean? For us to be friends. So there was a price you had to pay to be this person's friend, and his price was you had to scoop his poop and discard of it. Where were we putting it? Why did you feel like this friendship was that valuable? I just think this man he just does things like to take up time in his day. He'd rather scoop poop than be bored, perhaps. Oh my gosh.
thoughts or feelings, and so I just remember he'd shit, I'd bury it. And that was a lot of our friendship.
That was the relationship.
And so I was always over there, shoveling around. And his yard had a lot of silt. I think it was like alluvial soil.
So you were a poop bitch.
I wasn't a poop bitch. I was a guy who I would say I worked in like janitorial services.
No.
I would say
You
that.
didn't get paid though.
No.
And sometimes you get too many in one area, he'd make you move them to another area.
Gotta move the bodies.
Oh, like I'm John Wayne Gacy or something. Like,
But he was like always loud and
That
like
was his
aggressive. I was passive, had a fucking shovel.
Yeah, you were
and that was it, bro.
passive
That was
and
our
had a
relationship.
shovel.
Right.
Just happened to
I
have
would
a shovel.
say I was a colon concierge. That's what I would say.
Colon concierge.
Yeah. Well, this guy would shit, and I'd have to hide it in his yard, right? But I probably buried 200 of that man's poops in his yard.
Wow.
I'll say this: they had one of the best
Oh,
gardens.
he buried it. So the guy would poop in the yard and he would come and bury it down in this. Okay.
200 of that man's poops in his yard.
Wow.
I'll say this: they had one of the best gardens anywhere in town. I will say that, bro. Rose bushes 30 feet high, bro, encapsulating the house, dude. Just
So he'd shit in his yard, and you would go and bury it.
and he died.
Do they all perish? Did
and
they
he
all
died.
perish?
Actually, he drove his boat into an embankment, which is insane.
All right, here I am eating my words because I said I don't think he embellishes anything. But can two gentlemen that he knew growing up both pass away by driving some type of vehicle, some type of vessel into an embankment? Is it possible? Sure. Is it likely? I mean, I don't know the town that he grew up in, maybe it's full of embankments. You know, maybe instead of medians, they just have embankments everywhere. But it's starting to sound a little iffy. Theo, I'm trying to stick beside ya. You're making it hard.
And he died. Actually, he drove his boat into an embankment, which is insane. And R.I.P. Man, I feel so sorry for him. He ate a bunch of pills and drove a boat into an embankment. And here's the thing.
On purpose.
Yeah, I think people that end up doing drugs and driving machinery at high speeds, the odds are against you.
It doesn't mix.
And I remember I wrote his parents a letter when that happened and told them about that.
About him pooping in the yard.
And me burying it, yeah.
I feel like that letter might be framed at their house.
And I wanted to be a pallbearer, I remember, and because in my mind, I wanted to put him in the ground one last time. That was
That's cold.
That's a true story, man. And I wrote that in the letter, and they never wrote me back, man.
Who went to your school? It sounds like a bunch of.
They had to think that was a joke. Oh, is that what's her name? The controversial conservative chick. What's her name? Tommy? Isn't her name Tommy? All right, hey girl. He's literally been on a podcast with everybody. Everybody.
That in the letter, and they never wrote me back, man.
Who went to your school? It sounds like a bunch of real degenerates.
When I was growing up, they just called them kind of Wiggas, you know? It's like we had like a lot of Wiggas back in the day, and it was like...
That is
Dude, I remember the first Wigger went to our school. I told you guys that before.
The first one ever?
The first Wigger, this kid, Brian St. Pierre, went to our school. And he, he didn't have him, and he might have a couple left, I think, outside of maybe Cincinnati. Yeah. But he was like...
Are they an endangered species? We did. Okay, fair, fine. Brian St. Pierre is probably the most like private school name I've ever heard in my life. Like it sounds like the private school is probably like owned by his parents. Like St. Pierre High School. All right.
The first white kid that ever wanted to be black, and they'd never seen it before. They put him in
He was
class.
a white dude that was trying to be black?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think they were so white. Like, everything's a spectrum. So I think if you get so white, you're almost back around to being black. They
Where'd
put
he
him
move from?
nowhere, bro. He fucking just, you know, he was raised like, kind of like, you know, he was like Mowgli, you know? Like, he was just fucking spent a little bit of time on the other side of town, you know? And the brothers really got a hold of him. And he was cool, though. He was a cool dude, man. Mowgli. He was, bro. They used to call him Wiggas back in the day, went to our school, right? And nobody had ever seen it before. That's it. But look,
Why
man.
is he saying it like it's a virus? No one's ever seen it before. Yeah, my tummy hurts.
Back in the day, went to our school, right? And nobody had ever seen it before. That's it. But
no one ever caught it before.
They put him in the mentally handicapped class.
No, they didn't. No, they didn't.
Is that what they used to do with Wiggers?
Yeah. Well, they didn't know. They'd never seen it before.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
they put him in there.
What? Just a dude who had like couldn't he just be like, hey guys, this is just the way I want to talk.
I don't even know what the fuck you're saying, Lee, right now. You sound like him right now. They probably put you in that class right now.
Oh, Lee would be in, dude.
I don't even know what you're saying.
This is in Louisiana.
Yeah.
Oh, he's from Louisiana. I'm sure y'all have told me this in the comments. There's just always so many comments that sometimes I can't read them all. This makes sense that he grew up in Louisiana. This makes so much. I mean, I just got so much clarity. My eyes are truly open now. I'm out of the fog. Thank you. Thank you. Is it Tom? What's her name? Is it Tommy? I think her name is Tommy. Right?
I don't even know what you're saying.
This is in Louisiana.
Yeah.
Because he wanted to.
Because he just,
She's
he was
genuinely
like
confused.
such
She's
a,
like,
he just
why?
acted so black. This Wigger, so you'd have like, you have like kids who were really had mental illnesses and, everything, all the DS and everything. People were like, well, what's going on? He wore like a starter jacket and stuff.
A starter
Just
jacket.
had Brian's just dribbling an invisible basketball, just wearing a Charlotte Hornets pullover, starter pullover, Apex,
Yeah, I'm not gonna hold you. I didn't have a pullover starter jacket. I did have a starter jacket, and it was what is now like, what are they? The Washington Defenders, but back in the day they were something else, and I'm not gonna say it because YouTube rules. But I did have one, but I used to want a pullover one so bad, and the Charlotte colors were always so good because it was that like blue and purple that like kind of aquamarine blue and that like purple color. I used to love it. Never got one. I used to love it. I feel like I need to circle back to the like, you could be so white that eventually turn up and you are black. And also Tommy looked so concerned. She just did not understand. She's like, was this in Louisiana where white people wanted to be black? Like she really didn't understand why a white person would be black. Which, you know, I mean, if she's the person I think she is, and that is on brand for her to have that question, I think, for her to be like, what? Theo.
And a Charlotte Hornets pullover, starter pullover, Apex, dribbling an invisible basketball all day, bro. Just posting up mental kids in the lunch line, bro. And just, you know, blowing menthols and fucking yelling at people.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, man, we don't know what he has, you know?
Is Brian still in an institution or is he out?
No, he's out. Somebody sent me a picture of him the other day. I think he's in prison somewhere, he's in jail, or in or out of jail. But they'd never seen it. They thought he was mentally handicapped just because he wanted to, you know, play with the brothers. Just different times. But he was one of the wildest locally, you know, because people didn't know what was going on. They're like, oh, we don't know, you know.
Yeah.
Science doesn't know.
Yeah.
And he was just, you know, nothing was wrong. He was just, you know, he bought Shaquille O'Neal's rap album and he just watched Space Jam all the time. You know?
Yeah.
And he listened to Boys to Men. He would just wig it up.
They put the wigger in the special class.
That's what you sounded.
just
That's what that dude
up.
sounded like. I wanted $1 today. You sound like cousin it. Shit. I'm like, what the fuck? Is that?
Oh my goodness.
Now he's making a buzzing in the mics.
Listen to him. He's the walking buzz
Oh
over
my
here.
gosh.
Oh,
It was cool. I mean, we had a good group of handicapped kids at our school, I remember.
Wow. I can
So they
see
had
that.
people that were really, you know, people that were just, you know, didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
Deaf people, blind people that were.
What was like?
Oh, dude, I remember they had a deaf kid that moved into our town for.
What Nokia phone was this filmed on? Is this the original Bert, the cave that he and Tom? Where is this? What is?
People, blind people that were.
What was like?
Oh, dude, I remember they had a deaf kid that moved into our town for 3 days. You know, this dude was deaf, actually. And right 2 doors down from us, handsome kid, too. And this group of kids thought he was doing magic. Because he was always doing all of this and shit, and people thought he was doing magic with no tricks, and they fucking beat him. Yeah, because he kept doing all those hand signals, you know, but no quarters, no doves. They thought he was doing bad magic, and they fucking beat his ass, man.
His ass, man.
I remember one kid yelling, "You mean this ain't got no words in him?"
I remember when they had this thing for a while, and I don't use this kind of terminology, but this was back in the day called
Fag fist fights was a thing, and it would come to colleges.
Yes.
And it was gay. It was a gay men group, and they'd put boxing ring at a bar,
and they would have 2 gay dudes would fist fight.
But was it just like boxing?
Yeah,
like
it was just gay boxing,
and people would bet on it and shit. I remember.
What made it gay boxing, I guess, is my question, because 2 men fighting is 2 men fighting. What constitutes it as gay boxing? So is there straight boxing and gay boxing? What? So if 2 blonde men are boxing, then it's blonde boxing? Anyone okay. All right.
But was it just like
I digress.
boxing?
Yeah,
Like
it was just gay boxing.
And people would bet on it and shit. I remember that. Yeah, when I was at LSU for a while.
You would pay
He
to go
went
watch
to
it?
LSU.
Yeah, we'd go there and drink. You'd go and drink and watch.
See, college used to be so much fun.
Yeah.
You can't.
You know,
yeah,
before
can't do
now, all
that
this
anymore.
PC shit now, everything's soft.
Yeah.
I'd pay $1,000 for a
Jelly
ringside table,
roll.
one of those right now.
It was crazy, man. I can't believe they used to come in Hammond, Louisiana. They'd roll through.
Well, I don't know what happened to that shit. It might have got shut down.
Louisiana.
Cockfights.
Yeah, it was cockfights, I think.
Yeah.
That used to be great. Imagine trying to do that now. Yeah, it's called fag fighting. And we have 2 gay guys, and it's to first blood. So the first AIDS blood splatter, we're done. Then we're done with the fight. That would be rough now to get away.
But yeah,
Rough?
dude, they'd come and people would
Impossible.
bet on them, and then you could get, pictures afterwards and stuff.
Different times.
Different times,
Different
man.
time.
Were they enjoying it in an erotic way? Did you think it
No,
was like a
these men
sexual
were
thing?
beating the. If there was anything,
See, that's what I'm saying. Like, if they were doing it like how she just described, then I would understand the title. But otherwise, what does their sexual orientation have to do with anything? I mean, I do understand, like, back then, like, when he's talking about, I feel like he's a millennial like me. Like, he grew up kind of in the same time as me. Like, you know, this is kind of before, this was at the precipice, the beginning of acceptance kind of being mainstream. And so if that's the case, then I guess maybe it did feel a little bit like fantasy like or just so uncommon. But like, girl, now you just pull up a YouTube video and see, you know.
straight left in
Hey.
any of them, I think they'd beat it out of each other.
Jesus.
Shout out to this girl, bro, named Big Helena. Do it.
What was her
Or
name?
Big Helena. I don't know what her last name
Helena.
was.
Helena.
Big Helena. No, who honestly, no, I'm not joking, Tim. She looked just like you, bro. And I lost a spelling bee to a girl in 5th grade who got pregnant.
Shut the fuck up.
She was pregnant.
Good for her.
She was,
Whoa, in
No.
fifth grade?
Yes.
5th grade.
But she was held back. She was older.
She was still like 18 in 5th grade.
No, she was probably 16.
Okay.
Oh, big difference.
Dude, you grew up in the best
They
place.
checked as much as possible. 100% pregnant.
Wow.
What was the word that you didn't know how to spell?
Her name was Helena, I remember.
Yep.
Did you ever make it to some kind of finals?
I made it almost, but I missed on inconvenience, right?
That's
That's a hard.
Yeah.
Listen to me when I tell you, inconvenience is probably one of the hardest words for me to spell to the second of today. Like, the way I need autocorrect to fix it, finish it, reword it, I have to say it into my phone sometimes. For a 5th grader, the fact that you could even, good for you. Because here I am, many decades later, still can't.
I made it almost, but I missed on inconvenience, right?
That's inconvenient.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't be able to do that anyway either. I'm like,
And she won the spelling bee.
Yeah, because she knows all about an inconvenience. And she knows all about that. When you give birth to your uncle's baby in 6th grade in Covington, Louisiana, it's an inconvenience.
Don't joke
Yeah,
like
and then I started thinking about
That's
her
terrible.
and her child. Every time I hear that
you
word.
need to go down rabbit holes. I know.
Yeah.
It's really inconvenient. That's funny.
And dude, nobody thought she could spell. Nobody thought she could even speak.
Oh,
Really.
no one thought she could get knocked up either.
That's true.
Jesus.
So she was a real overcomer, dude. Or just someone who accepted cum, you know? And she, sorry about that part. You know, like when I was growing up, they had a thing about us, vagip, and it was girls would put a ass LSD in their vagina.
What?
Yeah. And go hard. Yeah.
A dick trip.
Girls would hit an acid in their vaginas, right, when I was growing up. And then one night, we got all... It was like the girl,
How did he and anyone else survive this city? This doesn't sound like anyone should have come out of this place alive, let alone with like brain cells left. This is crazy. And if he's lying, the fact that he can come up with this kind of stuff is crazy.
girl was tripping, then you get in there and get some of the trip.
No,
Yeah.
would it absorb through the vagina?
Oh, I guess it would.
I don't mind a trip, but I don't want it through my dick hole. That's a weird suppose.
That's a wild.
That's a wild entrance.
This was a fun school to go
See, but
to.
what happened?
This was a
This wasn't a
fun high
school.
school. This high school, people are
Sounds
pregnant.
like a
It's just-
juvenile detention
acid in the
center, not a high
vagina.
school.
You got no
These
heart.
are like problems I didn't even know could be problems. I'm like, I
Right.
didn't even know these things could happen.
That's a front suppository.
Yeah.
Let's go for jip. And then what was that? Fag boxing? What do you call it? Fag fighting?
But it was all kind of set up, and I didn't realize it.
Yeah.
I was at the age where it was.
Listen. I'm with this guy. Like, this high school doesn't sound real. It really sounds like a detention center, youth detention center with no supervision. In high school, I think I knew, like, I remember, I went to a predominantly white high school. And I remember, like, this girl that I was super, I wouldn't say close with, but we were cool. I had gone to her house a couple of times. Her mom was, like, the meteorologist of one of the, like, big news stations in Georgia, and she went to rehab, and this was like 10th or 11th grade, and I was just like, what's rehab? And everybody was looking at me like I was crazy. It just like never was ever, and I think that's a blessing, right? That I at 15, 16 was naive enough to not know what a rehab was. That just means like I didn't grow up, no one in my family, you know what I mean? Like, I was shielded from that part of life. But like that was the extent of me understanding drug abuse or having it like close to me. Senior year, our prom, we like went back to one of our friends' houses, and our parents stocked the fridge with coolers, like the wine coolers. And we thought our parents were so cool. I mean, we did sneak a little bit of liquor, but like the fact that they like let us have the house to ourselves and gave us wine coolers, and just they were just like, don't drive anywhere. It was just like, all right, you know. But the stories he's telling are like hangover worthy, the movie stories. And this kid was in high school. Where were the adults? Where were the teachers, the principals, the parents, the nurses, the doctors, the school crossing guard? Where were these people? They failed you, Theo.
Boxing, what do you call it? Fag fighting?
But it was all kind of set up, and I didn't realize it.
Yeah.
I was at the age where it was all a show. I didn't realize
this
that.
was like professional wrestling. This was all choreographed.
Yes, it was all choreographed.
Would they sort of give you a backstory, sort of like 24, where they would be like, here's why this guy's mad at this guy?
Dun, 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 like that court show?
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah,
like
Griffin can't believe.
Like if you watch
Griffin ate all of Randall's cereal, they're going to figure this out tonight.
This is poor gay dudes who couldn't become dancers, who had to just beat the shit out of each other in Louisiana.
I mean, it was, first of all, it was just some of your people who brought the business to town.
People got to make money.
I agree.
People got to make money. If you're gay in Louisiana, in rural Louisiana, you're going to have to beat the shit out of another gay guy. You're not designing houses. You're not an interior designer. You're going to have to fight, and you hope that some fans come in who are vajipping, some fag hags that are all vajipping, who think it's great.
What's that mean? I don't know if I should repeat that. What does that
Do
mean?
you think that you could fight an animal ever, bro? Do you think it's ever going to get to that?
What? Like a bear?
I thought he asked him, did he think he was going to fight an animal lover? Yeah, he's like, what? Theo? Theo. Sweet Theo. Y'all already know the deal. I got to go take a nap. I don't know why. It's like sweet punishment at this point because it's hilarious, but by the end of it, I'm wiped out by just how absurd it all is. Okay. All right. Go and have the day that you deserve. Peace.